So I came across a story that honestly stopped me in my tracks. A 2024 Toyota Tacoma with only 5,000 miles had a critical failure right after a dealer oil change. And if that's true, this isn't just a one-off problem. This is something every Tacoma owner needs to pay attention to. According to reports, this Tacoma went in for a routine oil change at the dealership. And shortly after that, major oil-related issues. We're talking about something serious enough to potentially damage or destroy the engine. So what's being reported in this very specific case? This wasn't just a random failure. This was after a dealer oil change. And the issue being pointing to here is the oil filter. Either it wasn't installed correctly, wasn't tightened properly, or failed at the seal. But when that happens, you can lose oil pressure fast. This is exactly the kind of thing that can happen if even one small step of an oil change process is missed. None of these are complicated, but every single one of them can wreck an engine if it's done wrong. Now let's go into some of these details. This is a direct quote from the 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR5 owner. I had my oil change at the dealer in November and have only put on 5,000 miles since then. Today, as I was driving, the oil filter came off. The threads on the filter showed no damage. I think the tech at the Toyota dealer forgot to tighten the filter all the way, and it finally worked its way off. Now the key thing here is that the filter threads are intact, indicating the filter was not unspun or stripped. An immediate concern is a lack of training on the new platform. There are similar patterns where technicians struggled with new procedures often led to avoidable disasters, such as the early 2024 Tacoma turbocharger failures caused by oil blockage. The industry standard for canister filters is hand tight plus a quarter to a half turn with a specialized wrench, which is often skipped by junior technicians who rely on feel rather than precision. The correct way to do it is using a torque wrench with an oil filter wrench. The truth is, this thing just wasn't tight enough. But if you torque it to spec, never just hand tighten, then a half turn beyond that. Torque it to spec. I highly recommend always torque it to spec, the oil plug and the oil filter. Don't skip that step. Torque it to spec. Now, coming from the factory, there have been notes where when you take off the oil filter, you had to put a long screwdriver through the oil filter just to get it off. That's probably how it should be every single time. Torque it to spec. Over-tightening is common, but leaving them loose enough to walk off is the ultimate technical sin. My guess and my speculation about what happened here is that the tech just hand-tightened it with possible a quarter to a half turn. He's been taught and walked away. On 4th-gen Tacomas, I don't think that's good enough. So I highly recommend torquing it to spec, whether you're a dealer technician or you're changing your own oil. This is something you don't want to mess with. And if this happens and that oil filter comes off, your engine is on borrowed time, even if it was just running for minutes without oil pressure. The 4th generation Toyota Tacoma's T24A FTS engine introduces entirely different heat profiles, plumbing and oil system dynamics. The tech likely followed a standard operating procedure that worked for decades on older trucks, but was woefully incomplete for this high vibration precise torque environment. I believe they tighten it like they've been taught, but I don't think that's good enough, especially on the 4th-gen Toyota Tacoma. I think this is a process failure, not a product defect. If it would have been torqued to spec and then trying to get it off with a screwdriver, just the same way as it came from the factory, I think you're good. On modern spin-on filters, the final rubber gasket seal must be fully compressed to withstand thermal expansion and vibration. It is common for a technician to tighten a filter by hand, feel the gasket make contact, and assume it is tight, when it is only sealed, not torqued. It requires at least another half turn with a dedicated tool to be secure for 5,000 plus miles. After the tech's mistake, the engine was subjected to 5,000 miles of operation. The 2.4 turbo engine undergoes significant thermal cycling, extreme heat during boost, rapid cooling after shutdown. This combined with a normal high-frequency vibrations from a large displacement inline forward creates the perfect reverse torque scenario, slowly unwinding the filter over months. The standard service procedure requires a technician to clean the filter housing area, install the new filter, start the vehicle, wait to 1 to 2 minutes, and perform a detailed visual inspection for any signs of weeping, the first sign of a loose filter. A final QA inspector should check this as well. The process was clearly skipped. When you take your 2024 Plus Tacoma in for an oil change, don't just say oil change. State, I need platform-specific service. Please ensure the new filter is torqued to the correct spec and ask for a paint mark validation showing it was checked. And conduct your own QA. Do not rely 100% on the dealer. After every service, pull your truck out of the driveway, let it idle for 5 minutes, and then use a flashlight to check the engine bay for any signs of weeping oil. Better yet, check the filter itself to see if you can see the paint mark or do a visual verification. Now, if you got a skid plate like the TRD Pro Trailhunter, that's going to be a little difficult. So you could probably get a flashlight, put your cell phone up in there, and check things out that way. Do not mistake this incident as a sign that the 4th Gen Toyota Tacoma engine is faulty. This is a maintenance-specific process failure that points to a quality control gap in Toyota's retail dealer network, not a design defect in the truck itself. If this were a product defect, the filter housing would have been shattered or the engine block threads would have sheared. The fact that the threads are perfect is an ambiguous smoking gun of technician negligence in the final torque stage. This particular oil filter failure was a localized service error. So as long as you torque your oil filter to spec, also the oil plug, and don't double gasket your oil plugs, that'll cause issues too. Make sure you take that oil gasket off the oil plug. Always make sure that you put new oil on the O-rings on the filter. And if you do that, you'll get a good seal, and then torque it to spec, and you'll never have an issue. And here's the part people don't think about. When oil pressure drops, you don't get a lot of time. We're not talking days or even minutes. You can do serious damage to an engine very quickly, especially on a brand new truck like the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma. And this is exactly why I personally don't just assume everything was done right, even at a dealership. I'm not saying dealers are bad at all. Some of them are actually pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's still a technician on a schedule doing routine work, and everybody makes mistakes and everybody's human. And it only takes one small mistake. I'll give you a specific example. When I took my Trailhunter in for an oil change, they told me it was almost time for a new air filter. What? That doesn't make sense. The Trailhunter air filter does not get changed. You clean it. It's permanent. And they did not close up the air filter box all the way, so I started getting codes thrown on my Trailhunter. I used my OBD scan tool, checked it. It was complaining about the mass airflow sensor, and I said, what in the world? This is a new truck. This doesn't make sense. I went out there, checked it. They didn't close the air box all the way. Easy fix. But everybody makes mistakes. Here's what I recommend. Whether you do your own oil or take it somewhere, always double check your work or their work. Check under the truck for leaks. Make sure that filter is seated properly, and always check your oil level after the engine's been run. It takes 2 minutes, and it could save your engine. And for those of you doing your own maintenance, here are the specs you need to know. Drain plug, 30 foot-pounds. Oil filter, about 18 foot-pounds. At the end of the day, the Toyota Tacoma is one of the best trucks out there, if not the best. But stories like this are a reminder. It's not always the truck, sometimes it's the work done on it. And if you stay on top of it, you'll avoid problems like this completely. Now, if you want, I can walk you through an oil change on a 4th generation Toyota Tacoma if there's enough interest. Just let me know down in the comments. But either way, just be careful out there. And don't assume anything when it comes to your engine. If you like that video, be sure to hit the subscribe, like, share, and comment down below. We'll see you next time. Smoky Mountain Taco, out.